climate change has been a big issue that you've been concerned about, focused on. It seems over the next 25 years, the global energy needs are going to increase about 50%, that emissions are going to go up significantly, primarily because of China and India, and we could do significant harm to the U.S. economy, I think, by putting additional rules and regulations with very little impact on the global climate. So in this tight budget environment with so many competing American priorities, I would ask you to give considerable thought into limiting significantly resources that would not help us as an economy, not help us as a country, and not help us globally in perhaps the efforts that you might be pursuing there. I don't know if you have specific thoughts on.
I do. I have a lot of specific thoughts about it, Senator, more than we're going to have time to do now. So I'm not going to abuse that privilege, but I will say this to you. The solution to climate change is energy policy. And the opportunities of energy policy so vastly outweigh the downsides that you're expressing concern about. And I will spend a lot of time trying to persuade you and other colleagues of this. You want to do business and do it well in America? We got to get into the energy race. Other countries are in it. I can tell you in Massachusetts that the fastest growing sector of our economy is clean energy and energy efficiency companies. And they're growing faster than any other sector. The same is true in California. This is a job creator. I can't emphasize that strongly enough. The market that made America rich, richer, we've always been rich, but the market that made us richer in the 1990s was the technology market. It was a $1 trillion market with 1 billion users. And we created greater wealth in America than has been created even in the raging time of no income tax and the Pierponts, Morgans, and Mellons and Carnegies and Rockefellers. We created more wealth in the 1990s, and every single quintile of American worker went up. Everyone. So we can do this recognizing that the energy market is a $6 trillion market compared to one, with what, 5 billion users today, going up to 9 billion over the course of the next 20, 30 years. This is a place for us to recognize what other countries are doing and what our states that are growing are doing, which is there's an extraordinary amount of opportunity in modernizing America's energy grid. We don't even have a grid in America. We have a great big open gap in the circle of America. An East Coast grid, a West Coast grid, you've got a Texas grid, and then you got a line that goes from Chicago out over to the Dakotas. We can't sell energy from Minnesota to Arizona, from Arizona to Massachusetts, or to the cold states and so forth. It doesn't make sense. And we can't be a modern country if we don't fix that infrastructure. So I would respectfully say to you that climate change is not something to be feared in response to. I mean, the steps to respond to it. It's to be feared if we don't. 3,500 communities in our nation last year broke records for heat. We had a rail that, because of the heat, bent, and we had a derailment as a result of it. We had record fires. We had record levels of damage from Sandy, $70 billion. If we can't see the downside of spending that money and risking lives for all the changes that are taking place to agriculture, to our communities, to the ocean, and so forth, then we're just ignoring what science is telling us. So I will be a passionate advocate about this, but not based on ideology, based on facts, based on science. And I hope to sit with all of you and convince you this $6 trillion market is worth millions of American jobs and leadership, and we better go after it.